Blessings! Today is Winter Solstice, and in Chinese culture, which is, by the way, I'm Chinese, so in my culture, it is when the yin energy comes to a peak and turning into yang. So if you ever seen the yin-yang totem, right, the white and black and with the little dots in them, it means that the nature has always been in this state of spinning between yin and yang. And winter solstice, since it has the longest, darkest night, it is considered at the peak of the yin energy. And from this point, the night will be shortened and day will be extended. So we are entering this transformational time. So if you practice any kind of Taoist or Mahayana Buddhism that with the Chinese folk practice influence, you would know that today is a big, big important day. I think if I remember it correctly, Chinese people has been officially making winter solstice as national big thing, big holiday. That started around Han Dynasty, I think. That's as far as history documents goes, right? The information we have nowadays. I think back then it used to be considered this time of receiving blessings from the heavens, since it's the turning point between yin and yang. But if you know anything about Eastern Asian culture, especially Chinese culture, everything must have something to do with food. So Moon Festival have moon cake, and Spring Festival we have all kinds of North Chinese culture we have dumplings, and Southern Chinese culture we have niangao, the rice cake stuff. Winter solstice is also very important, heavy on the food tradition, which is in the northern part of China. Is still as a winter solstice today, still as a big day to make dumplings and eat dumplings. And if you are more at the southern part of the China, you will see people eat extremely long noodles. Right? So I was joking with my partner that there are three things you'll always find in Chinese folk practicings. One is the blessings of long life, right? The span of life is getting really, really long. So long noodles representing the length of your life is really, really long. And the second theme is getting rich. So if you see the number 888, right, or a lot of things like the round meatballs is considered a yuanbao, which is where the chunk of gold shaped as a gold ball or gold bar or something like that. Or dumpling is wrapped in a way we call 钱包 wallet. It's a pocket full of treasure, right? The food always symbolizes that. Also, the third theme in Chinese folk practice, the blessings, is a lot of children, offsprings. So, for example, pomegranate. You will see a lot of pomegranate in a lot of traditional Chinese decorations or paintings or clothes patterns, embroideries, because pomegranate has a lot of seeds in it. So it means many seeds, many children. So it's always about those three themes. I actually moved to the States after high school. To be honest, my past growing up in China is a very tough time. as a queer person, and also as someone who struggle with ADHD and has difficult family dynamics. So a lot of my fondness of Chinese culture is not necessarily from my own experience, but rather from the books I used to read. The China I fell in love with was not the China I grew up in, but rather the poetic China I learned from paintings and Chinese opera and the old literatures like Hong Lo Meng, The Dream of Red Chamber. That still is my favorite Chinese novel. It's basically a paradise of the ideal Chinese nobility, how elegant their life is and how profound their philosophy can gets into, and everything is intertwined, right? The philosophy, the medication, the food, the lifestyle, everything is like in one system, and it's very, very charming. The reason why I'm saying that is even though those traditions and those folk practices are considered very typical Chinese practice, however, it is not the tradition that I am necessarily following. I think I've been trying to reclaim some of the ancestry blessings and ancestry powers in my magical practice, spiritual practice, and a big part of it is Mahayana Buddhism. As you can see, this is one of my malas. I sort of like chant some mantras and stuff, and trying to, I try to eat noodles in Winter Solstice, and today I ate noodles. It's really, really delicious. I can share recipes with you if you want. Let me know, but that will be a different video. However, I want to say that after I immigrated to the US, first I wasn't an immigrant. First, I was an international student. That is not considered as immigrant, but I tried very, very hard to gain residency status in the States, and my partner helped me quite a lot. And my current Winter Solstice tradition is something that is related to what we call Blue Christmas. So Blue Christmas is the time, the winter solstice, around that time, before Christmas actually happened. We spend a day or spend an evening at least that a friend and your community come together, and we create a time and space for the mourning, for the sorrow, sadness, loss, disappointment, pain, and suffering. And this year has been a bit of a challenge for both me and my partner, although it has also been a year of a lot of healings and progress and self-discoveries. So it is an intense year, I would have to say. And today I work at a Christian church, and I consider myself a Christian and plus Mahayana Buddhist, plus, I don't know, I'm just like spiritually chaotic. And so today I participated in the Blue Christmas tradition, and after I came home, I sort of ate my noodles, and in the effort of trying to bring my current tradition and my past lost tradition in unity and connect them together. One thing I found very interesting is in my efforts of trying to connect my current very Western influenced spirituality with the long lost Eastern Asian spirituality, in this journey, I realized that a lot of, how should I say, the model of thinking, even though a lot of people ask, even though a lot of people argue that Eastern minds and Western minds are very different, which I totally agree and I see it, but the interesting thing is some of the logic models in a lot of spiritual practices are extremely similar. And one thing I found is the turning point of yin and yang, like winter solstice, right? The peak of yin and turning into the beginning of the yang's growth. Somehow that and the mythology of rebirth, the hero's journey, right? You have to die, enter into the deepest shadow, corner, darkness of death, and embrace the pain, embrace the darkness, and then you can integrate that and transcend that, and you can come back alive as new you, right? One of the mythology of Greek god Apollo, a slaughter typhoon, and there's his journey of traveling into the deep, deep in the center of the earth and slaughter this big monster and come back alive. And the other very interesting point of it is how a Greek Orthodox, I don't know if Russian Orthodox do that too, but I only know people who practice Greek Orthodox Christianity, that they have an entire Eastern worship designed around the story of how Jesus went down into the center of hell and stayed there for 3 days. And there's one day of liturgy is really only about how Jesus in the, within the 3 days of his death, he went down to the deepest, darkest part of hell. And he stayed there for 3 days. And that is nothing that I didn't learn any of that in Protestant church that I worship and work at. I didn't learn that from other readings. I only learned that with a friend of mine who participates in Greek Orthodox mythology. So this idea of embrace the deepest, darkest part of you is the key element and the turning point of transcendence, of growth, of change. That has always been a very powerful lesson for me to remind myself with. And I think tonight, Winter Solstice, with all the joyful blessings of long life and a lot of money and a lot of babies. If you don't want babies, maybe, I have a cat. I consider a cat as my baby, so maybe more cat babies, I don't know. Or, different kind of babies. Some people would say this project is my baby, this painting is my baby, right? I'm writing a book, that's my baby. Something that you truly value and you put your creativities and your values into, right? With all that, and let's remember in this darkest, longest night that the turning point is to embrace the unembraceable. So this is my first video of 12 days challenge of the Yule, and I hope you enjoy my little sharing, and I will see you tomorrow. Blessed be, bye. This is me at the Blue Christmas setting up, and this is me working on the AV system of the Blue Christmas. This is the event. Our friend is one of our friends is singing for the Blue Christmas service. And at home, I got noodles. Those are really good. I put some toppings, some chili oils, and some peanut butters. And yeah, that's my winter solstice. And I hope you have a good winter solstice as well. Long life, just like the noodles.